Okay, and so I'll take one separate class on k nearest neighbor. So that is very interesting classifier, and also you'll have to implement on satellite images knn k nearest neighbor. Actually, the nearest neighbor density estimations, if these things can be implemented on Bayes decision rule, then you can develop the theory for this KNN, I mean k nearest neighbor. Okay, so firstly, and in the last class we have already seen this like the Pearson window. It is also a non-parametric model, and also this nearest neighbor estimation techniques. It comes under the non-parametric model. Okay, so I'm just writing this thing how it can vary. So now, so in order to recapitulate this last portion, that is kernel density estimator. So can you see my typing? Huh?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Is it visible now at your end?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. If it is not visible, please let me know so that I can zoom it. The kernel density estimations are very easy to use. Okay, and it is most popular density estimation technique. I mean, non-parametric density estimation technique, and provided that you can use different exercise. Provided that so yeah, if you have exercise samples, then obviously so you will be in a position to estimate this kernel density. However, however, it is these estimation techniques are computationally expensive. However, it is they are computationally expensive. So it means that so we have already established this formula that in the previous class that you have seen this. So what are the formula for the kernel estimation techniques? So in this actually this kernel estimation method or the Pearson window both are same. It is used interchangeably. So suppose for N1 samples, suppose you have this data set. Training data set, that is an xi I is equal to 1 to d in the d dimensional space, and also if you have the n1 data. Okay, for the n1 data, actually kernel density estimation can be treated as a mixture density. Okay, because you have the mixture of distributions, you have a mixture of distribution, and we have seen with the distribution was assumed to be a Gaussian distribution, and it the form is a exponential form. Okay, and if you have the n1 data points, then you need to have the n1 Gaussian distribution, and to compute this n1 Gaussian distribution, as it is because you perhaps seen this is a summation term was there. As this summation term was there, then you need to compute this n1 data points, then n1 uh, distribution you need to have. So that is why it is computationally expensive. Okay, but if you have simply two distributions, then I mean, and if you know this a priori, these distributions strictly follow the Gaussian, and you are considering the two class, and for each class, the n1 sample is coming from class 1, and n2 samples are coming from the class 2, and both are following the Gaussian distribution, then it will be very easy to compute. Okay, then it will be less or I mean the computation will be much less if you know this class conditional density and Gaussian a priori, and the model fits this data. But if you have the n1 samples, and to fit these n1 samples you need to have the n1 distribution, because for the n1s for each samples you need to have 5 functions. The 5 function that if you have x minus x bar by mu, that you have already seen. So that is why it is computationally expensive. For n1 samples, you need to model the N1 samples for the N1 distribution. So that is why it is computationally expensive. Okay, so that's why this term is coming, that is it is computationally expensive. Now if you have, now consider two class problem, to consider two class problem with N1 plus N2 is equal to N training sample. It means that if you consider the two class classifications problem, it means the N1 samples are coming from class 1, which is being modeled by the Gaussian. N2 samples are coming from class 2, which is also modeled with this Gaussian distribution. Then both the samples can be considered as a training samples. Then after that, if we use Gaussian window, okay, so if we use the Gaussian window function that you have already seen, at any x, we need to compute n Gaussian. Okay, and if we use the Gaussian window, okay, it means that if we use this Gaussian window function at any x, then we need to compute, that is n Gaussian. Okay, and if we can model both class condition densities as Gaussian, the computation, the required computation is much less. Okay. Now for the two class classifications problems, so it is very easy, because we are assuming that if the for each data points are following this Gaussian distribution, and obviously in this Gaussian window function that you have assumed, and it is an exponential form, and if you could model for both class conditional density as Gaussian, then required computation is much more easy than this, considering this all the class. Okay, so that is the main concept. So another issue that you have encountered is the size of the volume. Okay, so another issue that you have encountered during understanding this kernel density estimation is the size of the volume, that is h. So h is very important things. So another issue is the size of the volume. Okay, because we have considered a hypercube, the volume was considered to be a hypercube, so where v is equal to h to the power d, that we have already seen. So now another issue is the size of v, volume element. Now the concept is that choosing the value for h is difficult. That is the concepts. Okay, so now how do you choose the value? So is sometimes if you choose this very if h is less, then also you'll have some problem. If h is very large, then also you'll have some problems. Now you need to choose the h in such a way so that the density that you are going to model for this particular data points, okay, it should fall this under this volume. So in this way, so I'll just tell you this one way of choosing these things. Okay, sometimes one may choose different age in different parts of feature space. So you may choose this same, same age in the different parts of feature. If you choose the same age, then whenever to compute the density function, now the density function will be more or less same. Okay, in this particular feature case. So now so that's why these people are. You may choose the different age in different parts of the feature space. Now in and the kernel density estimator, and this I'll just tell you this one way of choosing this age. So now if you just suppose you are asked to find the density function at x. Okay, now you are asked to find the density function, so that is a phi at x. Now if you see that all the data points are lie within the density function, then you choose that age is age should be small. Now if you otherwise age should be large. Okay, so this is the a way of doing this thing. So now if you choose that if you are asked to find the density function around this x, and if you find this all the data points are lying around this x, then you can choose this age is small, otherwise that it can be chosen, this age can be chosen as a large value. So now there is a kernel density estimator, are the most popular non-parametric estimator. Okay, kernel density estimation are the most popular non-parametric estimator. Okay, so this is all about these things which was required to discuss, and these are the important things. Okay, and next things is that we'll see there is a call this a different approach that we will see to non-parametric method, density estimation is the nearest neighbor approach. Okay, so now actually it is a nearest neighbor density estimation technique, and it is actually related to this k nearest neighbor rule. So k nearest neighbor is a classifier. Okay, and this nearest neighbor from the, if you understood the concept of the nearest neighbor estimation, and if you apply to the base decisions rule, then you can easily get the k nearest neighbor rule. So that is why you can have a mathematical framework for this k nearest neighbor. So here we do not have to choose the size of h. In the last density estimation technique, so you are bound to choose that means what will be the value of h, but here you do not have to choose the size of h. Instead you choose the k. Okay, it means that if you have n sample points, then out of the n sample point, k sample points lie. Okay, that how many samples belong to a particular volume. So that is a job that you have to compute. So here you don't need to choose the parameter h. Instead we choose K and you find the volume V enclose the K nearest neighbor of X. Okay, so instead we choose K and you have to find V to choose this K nearest neighbor of X. Then you can have, then we take, that is we'll have to have uh, that is a F. Okay, it is a okay, F at X, it is estimated value, functional value, that is equal to F at X is equal to, you can, or simply you can write this is a P hat S also, we say it is a density function. Okay, estimated. Okay, now you'll have to choose K in such a way to find the V to enclose this K nearest neighbor of X, and you have to, and we have to take the same formula, that is a K of N times V, N times V. So it means that, so whenever I'll be taking class on the K nearest neighbor, so main concept of the KNN is that it is a nearest neighbor classifier. Okay, one nearest neighbor, then you have the 3 nearest neighbor, 5 nearest neighbor. We'll have to choose this odd value of K, because to avoid the ties, because it means that if you have two class classification problem, okay, so now nearest neighbor means if you have two class classifications problem, now you are taking the samples points are belong to the kth class. Okay, if this if so the distance is coming up. Okay, if these points is more closer to the I mean, if you take any test sample point, if the test sample points are more closer to the training samples points of the X1 class, then this test sample points belong to the class 1. And if the test samples points are more closer to the training samples point of the class 2, then you'll have to classify, or you'll have to put the test sample point in the class 2. So this is called the nearest neighbor, means who are the closest neighbor of the test sample point. So this from this concept you have to produce this idea of the K nearest neighbor. So now firstly in the K nearest neighbor, what we have to do, so we first choose K, because it may so happen that, so mostly will be choosing this is an odd number of K to eliminate the ties. Okay, because ties means if you have the even number of samples now, so it may so happen that the two samples are belong to this class 1 and another two samples is belongs to the class 2. If you have these two K is equal to 2, then it will be very difficult to take a decision. So that's why we have to take this odd number of K. So now we first choose K and this given an X. So you'll be asked that where is the kth nearest neighbor? Okay, where is the kth nearest neighbor? And it is a fx, f at x is equal to K by NV, that you have to draw a hypersphere. So it is a hypersphere. So in order to include the kth nearest neighbor, okay, so in the hypersphere, so you have to include the just draw a hypersphere to just include the k nearest neighbor and its radius. So in this sphere, so its radius will be the distance from the test samples point, so distance from x to the kth nearest, so that will be the value of V. So now how we are, it is just a conceptual things how we are going to compute this value of V. It means we first choose the value of, we first choose K. Now given an X, so you will be asked the where is the K nearest neighbor, and you have to draw a hypersphere to just include all the kth nearest neighbor. Okay, and its radius will be the distance from x. Okay, as I already told you that you have to take the distance as x to the kth nearest, and that will be the value of the v. Okay, here we will be applying the majority class techniques. So now what is the meaning of the majority class? It means in KNN, the Ki are in class I. So K subscript I are in class I. Now you'll be asked that which I, for which I the Ki is the largest. Okay, if you are using this 5NN, suppose you are applying this K is equal to 5. The 5 nearest neighbor that applying, you are going to apply 5 nearest neighbor. Now if 2 are in one class and 3 are in other class, okay, suppose you are taking a distance that is x from this 5 nearest neighbor. It means that this x, the distance from x to training samples, so that is 2 are from one class, and distance from x to the another training sample, that is 3 are from other class. Now you are saying that x is more closer to that samples points. I mean x is more closer uh, that samples points in class 2. So how many samples points that you have already found out which is more closer or more closest to test sample? That are 3. And how many samples points that you have found out which are not closer to this training test sample point x? So that is 2. So now as you can see that 3 are in class 2 and 2 are in class 1, then obviously you put x in class 2. So that is called the majority voting technique. So I'll be explaining more details k nearest neighbor, okay, in due course, but just for the understanding, KNN means that this is a nearest neighbor classifier. You'll have to choose that apply if you have the 5NN, that how many samples points are that for how many samples whenever going to test it, if the test sample is x, then how many samples are more closer from the test samples, then you just note it down, and how many samples are not more closer, so it is also note it down. Then if you have two class classifications problem, then wherever you get the more samples which are more closer to the test sample, then this test sample will be classified in that particular class. So that is the concept of this KNN, K nearest neighbor. Okay, and next is that, so this nearest neighbor density estimation is closely related to the nearest neighbor density estimation is closely related to nearest neighbor classifier. Okay, that I already explained. Okay, now if you just consider consider a two class problem with prior probability, because now I am going to apply this nearest neighbor density estimation in the base classifier, so that you could obtain this k nearest neighbor. Okay, now and also here your main objective is to find out that how many the number of find this is in k you have to estimate. Okay, how many number of points in this hypersphere. So that is also you need to estimate, because the estimated density for k nearest neighbor is nothing but you have to estimate the how many samples points or how many samples points out of n are belong to this hypersphere. So that is your job. So now this consider a two class problem with prior probability PROPA. Okay, so consider a two class problem with prior probability capital Pi. So we need to write capital Pi and class conditional densities that is Fi, okay, where I is equal to 0 and 1. Okay, because you have two class f0 and f1. So now you have the consider two class problem with prior probabilities Pi, P0 and P1, and class conditional density is Fi is 0 and 1. Now let that fx is equal to, now again fx is equal to, we have to have so this same formula base decision rules में formula जो लगाया P0 capital P1 small p1, here we are using this f0 x plus capital P1 f1, okay, the overall the overall density of feature vector. So now so this is the things for these two class. So now this density is being modeled for class 1 and this density is being modeled for the class 2, and the P0 is a prior probability for class 1, P1 is a prior probability for the class 2. Now what are the overall probability for this feature vector? Now suppose there are n data sample with ni being from class I, with n data where uh, with ni being from class I, okay, where I is equal to 0 and 1. Okay, so now you have data samples in small n, then out of small n data samples, ni samples are from class I, okay, from the class 0 and class 1. So n not is class 0 and n1 from the class 1. Now we do k nearest neighbor okay estimation, okay, we do k nearest neighbor estimation of this function f, okay, suppose the needed volume is capital V, okay, and this volume is capital V, and suppose in this volume there are ki samples there are ki samples. Now you need to consider that the same thing that we have done for the histogram bins, that how many sample belong to the volume. Okay, that you have to estimate, where this h is fixed here. Okay, now here you will have to jump to these samples. Okay, now suppose in this volume, so there are ki samples of class I, class I, where I is equal to I is equal to 0 and 1. Okay, suppose in this volume there are ki samples. I mean, you are assuming that class 0, this for this k0 samples, and for the class 1 this is your k1 sample. Now using the same volume, okay, element, we estimate. Okay, now using the same volume element for this k0 samples for class 0 and k1 sample for the class 1, we estimate densities f as well as f actual, and another is the estimated. We estimated the density f. I mean, the way that you are going for the f, that you have to going for this fi. So that is fi for I is equal to 0 and 1. So now you have to estimate. Okay, now how do you do it? So now what are the formula? Okay, so you have seen this formula, that things that I have to take it from here. Here it should be uh, here is here we'll have f at I, because it is for this we need to consider the estimated density. Okay, because this how many samples are there for fix is equal to ki. Here you need to have this ki, okay, divided by ni into v. Okay, for I is equal to 0 1, and if and f at x is equal to ky nv. Okay, so this is these things. First one is the you need to know this for this ith class. It is this actual things. From this actual things you are going to have that from the n samples, out of the n samples, that if you consider for the total estimate, that from the n samples, out of the n sample, the k samples belong to this particular hypersphere, and for this ith samples, okay, for the ith class, because here in this for each class, that how many samples are belong to this uh, hypersphere, that you need to estimate. Okay, now the estimate when the estimates, okay, for the estimates for prior probability, for this prior probability would be the estimate for prior, means whenever you are going to have this estimate, that is a hat, I mean hat symbol will be there. Okay, now for the prior probability, so in the book you could have written the small pi hat, okay, or here you could have written small p hat. So they both are same, because as it is a density function. Now for the density function, it is a function, so that's why I'm writing this name. Now the estimate for prior probabilities would be it should be a capital P. I need to write it is a capital P hat I, because we are considering this ith class. Okay, बोलो क्या होगा? Anyone can tell me what will be this pi hat? Huh? What will be this pi hat? Anyone? Hello? What will be this prior probability? Huh? Are you getting my voice?
Yes, sir.
What will be the prior probabilities values? How do you compute this prior probability?
Sir, half for two class problem.
Half is I mean in terms of the samples.
Sir, it in terms of sample.
You have this capital N. I mean small n samples. Total sample is small n, and for the each samples that you could have, this is for the ith class, you can have some other samples. Then how do I write it?
Sir, sample size for ith class by total number of samples.
So Ni by N.
हाँ बोलो
By
Ni
total.
by
Ni by N.
Ni by N. Very good.
N.
Yes, you are right, because this is an samples for the ith class. Okay, so you need to have samples which belongs to the ith class, and the samples which belongs to the I mean, if you have the two class, there are the samples which belong to this first class plus samples belong to the class 2 divided by total number of samples. That's it. It should be Ni by N. Should be Ni by N. Now, using the estimate, so now using the estimate, you have to compute this posterior probability. Okay, you have to compute this posterior you have to compute this posterior probabilities, which will be I am writing it as a Q and I am using some other notation because I has already been used. So I use J, or you can simply write this Px, no problem. That is X. Oh, it should be Qjx is equal to okay. So this same formula. So means what is the formula for the posterior probability? Likelihood function into prior probability divided by this is a total number of probabilities.
Evidence.
Yes. Okay. Now you will have if j hat x so I'll have if j hat, I should write here this is j, if j hat. Okay, actually simply are going probability of hypothesis given evidence, then probability of evidence given hypothesis into probability of hypothesis divided by summation of this means probability of evidence given hypothesis. Then this is a base rule. Okay, so now we are computing the posterior probability, that is in phi xj into pj. We have to write these things. It should be j divided by if dash x. This is in total. Okay, this is in total probability. Okay, so now can anyone just tell me what will be the value? What is the value of f dash? I mean f hat jx. What will be the value of f hat jx? क्या लिखेंगे हम?
It's a B.
F hat jx. This one ना already तो compute किया. All you need to just change this.
I to J.
Yes, that's it. What will be the value of pj?
Nj by N.
Multiply by
NJ
nj by n. You have to have this n multiply by next is f hat x कितना होगा? What I should write?
K by NV.
Huh?
NV by K.
nv by k. Yes. Have to write nv by k. Now after doing this operation, so you are end up with this what value? बोलो.
KJ by K.
kj by k. Good. So this is your final estimate that you are going to get. This is you'll have, that is a kj by k. So this is your prior probability. So now if you see these things here, if you see my PPT, that the PPT that is already sent to you. So these are some examples are it is there. So now your goal is that estimate a posterior probability. देखो हम लोग posterior probability compute कर रहे हैं. Okay. We are just that you are end up with these things. Okay. But how it is coming, you need to understand it. So now, so you have already computed the posterior probability. Fine. So now if we want to implement it in Bayes classifier, then and you'll have to tell that now if we want to implement a Bayes classifier and x would be put in class J if what will be the condition? Qjx is greater than is equal to Qix for all I. Okay, which implies that now what I am going to have this Qjx, that is a Qjx. So if you just recall the Bayes formula, if you simply have the posterior probability that you have that we have already seen, Qjx is greater than is equal to, you will have Qix. ठीक है, for all you have for all I, you have what is the for all, you have, yes, you have for all I, which implies that kj is greater than is equal to ki. Okay, that is a kj is, because the samples, if you apply the k nearest neighbor rule, I mean the test samples are belong to the jth class, because so there is a more I mean proximity is there in the jth class. I mean more number of samples are belong to the jth class. I mean if you apply the majority voting techniques, so now in the jth class we will have more similarity. I mean the whatever samples are there, if you apply this k is equal to 5, it means that 3 samples will have the more closer to the test samples than the 2 samples in the other class, if you just consider in this way. Now kj is greater than is equal to your ki. So you can establish the formula if you apply, so that you can have the k nearest neighbor, that is a for all the k nearest neighbor can be established from the Bayes decisions rule. I mean using the density estimation technique that you can develop decision. So now from the density estimation, nearest neighbor density estimation technique is same as this is k nearest neighbor. Okay, thus so your conclusion will be, thus the Bayes classifier, okay, thus the Bayes classifier with this estimated density, with the estimated densities is the k nearest neighbor classifier. Okay, so this Bayes classifier with this estimated density is this k nearest neighbor classifier. So now here another thing is that which is an important thing is that in terms of the complexity, that this nearest neighbor classifier, we can simply write NN classifier. Okay. Now if the error rate, now in the nearest neighbor classifier, so please remember, if you just consider this nearest neighbor asymptotically, It means that in the nearest neighbor classifier, if the error rate will never be more than twice of base error rate. So in the nearest neighbor classifier, the error rate will never be more than twice of base error rate. Okay, the error rate in the nearest error rate will never be more than the twice of base error rate. Now, if you consider the base error rate is consider base error is P star. Suppose if you consider base error is your P star, okay, then the error rate of NN classifier will be P less than of twice of, you will have the twice of star. Okay, so now if the error rate will never be more than the twice of base error rate. Now if the base error is P star, then the error rate of the nearest neighbor classifier is P less than 2 P star. Okay, asymptotically. Okay, so now asymptotically, so if you consider is a asymptotically, so what is the meaning of asymptotically? So the asymptotically as the number of sample goes to infinity. So this condition is only be satisfied. So now asymptotically asymptotically. Okay, so asymptotically as the number of sample goes to infinity, SMP number of sample goes to infinity, then the nearest neighbor classifier error rate in worst case in bounded twice of base error rate. Okay. So this is very important things. That is in the nearest neighbor classifier, you can have the error rate will be never be more than twice of base error rate, and the base error, if consider base error is P star, then the error rate of nearest neighbor classifier is this. If the P, then P is less than or twice of P error. Now, if you develop your own classifier, suppose you would like to develop your own classifier, and then if you want to mathematically prove that whether your classifier is an optimal classifier is not, then if you somehow is managed to prove that the error rate of your design classifier is less than of twice of the base error rate, then obviously you could say that this classifier will be a optimal classifier. Okay, is that clear? So one example is there. So I'll just take one example in the, probably if I get some time. That is to check that the base error rate, how to compute this base error rate. So one example is, so this solving example that I could able to tell you. So that's all for this today's class. I just wanted to tell you how these things is going on. Okay. So we'll in the next class probably I'll start like principal component analysis. So before that, I'll start this regression. Okay. So in next class, so I'll start the single variate regression analysis. So there's a simple regression analysis or single variate, and we'll have the multivariate. So I'll start this tomorrow in the Monday. I'll start with the single variate regression analysis with the mathematical um, jargons. Okay, and also assignment also will be given to you on the linear regression. So please go through the book of the Do Not book. So this was the very important portion of the base decision rule.